Our next guest is joining us right now to weigh in on economic expectations for the next 4 years, the investment landscape, and much more. We want to welcome Carlyle Group's co-founder and co-chairman, David Rubenstein. He's also the author of The Highest Calling, Conversations on the American Presidency, for which he interviewed President-elect Donald Trump. And David, it's always great to see us. He's joining us this morning from the snowy mountains of Davos. David, you're a Washington native. You're somebody who has worked in previous administrations, who's been here in Washington and understands the transition of power. What can you tell us about this historic moment today?
Well, it's always better, in my view, to be going in than going out, though I recognize what Josh said is if you work for 4 years in administration, it's not bad to get some time off. What we're seeing now is a good thing to see because sometimes presidents who are coming in don't really want to talk to or meet with the president who is going out. For example, when Eisenhower came in, he didn't get out of the car. He picked up Truman in the White House, and they went down Pennsylvania Avenue and never talked to each other. Roosevelt, for disability reasons, didn't want to get out of the car, and he didn't when he was transitioning with Herbert Hoover. And they didn't talk apparently at all either. So sometimes the presidents don't even talk when they're going up there. But I think the conversation is probably going to be civil. These men have been around for a while. They're both professional. One point I would add, though, we've never really had something like this since 1892, as Josh Bolton pointed out. And we'll find out whether a new administration with fresh people can do a second term for a president better than somebody who is doing a second term consecutively. When you do a second term consecutively, you have people who are tired and they might not be that great as great in the second term. And that's why some second terms haven't worked out as well. And also you get some fresh people coming in a second term who are rookies and don't have any experience with the president. So for some reason, second terms haven't been as good as first terms. Maybe if you have a non-consecutive second term, it could be different and better. And Grover Cleveland actually had a pretty good non-consecutive second term.
You know, you've made the point of presidents who haven't met with the transitions. And, of course, Donald Trump was not at the inauguration 4 years ago. But I went back and looked it up. The first time that you didn't have a current sitting president at the inauguration of his successor was going all the way back to John Adams not showing up for Thomas
Correct.
Jefferson's inauguration. Obviously, they were bitter rivals. They ended up mending fences maybe the last 11 years of their lives, actually became much closer, writing letters back and forth. And they died on the same day, July 4th of 1826, almost 200
Correct.
years ago.
So what happened was very unusual. In those days, the president and the vice president didn't have to be in the same party. And so Jefferson was elected as vice president, though he was a different party than Adams. And he really, I think, upset Adams by running against him for president. He beat him. And so Adams, on 4:30 in the morning, got a stagecoach to take him out of town. And Jefferson walked by himself with no guards or anything from his boarding house to be sworn in. Very different than today.
Yeah. David, let's transition back to business and what business can expect. Obviously, you talk to a lot of CEOs. You see where money is flowing with private equity and what's happening. What are you thinking, just from your perspective, in terms of where the business environment stands and what the markets look like?
There's no doubt that the large part of the business community is fairly euphoric, if I can use that word. I think they are feeling that they're going to get a better shake, rightly or wrongly, under President Trump, and they're familiar with him and many of his people. So I think the business community, particularly the Wall Street community, is pretty happy with this change. Obviously, there's some people who are big supporters in Wall Street of Kamala Harris, but I think as a general rule, I think the business community is thinking that they're going to be okay.
David, I'll just tell you, we're looking